準備はいい？もちろんだ。
There's a void. A piece of you is lost when you complete an anime, finish reading a manga. You're glad that the story has ended and yet you wish it had continued for a lifetime. Characters with whom you have grown attached with, relationships that you are invested in. You're thankful towards the universe which gave you the chance to discover this story. The Law of Ueki, Princess Tutu, Death Note, Spiral, Penguin Drum. These are all crucial cornerstones in my anime journey. They either kick-started my journey or jump-started it when it had stalled. And over the past few months, it had stalled. The volume of anime being produced is higher than ever, and yet everything seems so banal, superficial, all flash, no substance, derivative slop. Of course, it's rude to judge a work just by a single episode, but it's surprisingly easy to spot a bad anime. Real Girl is not a good anime. The animation is clunky, the drawing looks shaky, the backgrounds are dull and lifeless, the character designs are generic and forgettable, the soundtrack is, well, present, and the premise is as run-of-the-mill as it gets. All of these vices are on full display in the first episode itself, screaming at me to drop this. And yet, I did. I started this anime with the sole purpose of completing it. It had been a long time since I'd watched one and I just wanted to wade through it no matter what. I chose this show because I wanted something light, trashy, easy to digest. This show was none of it. An otaku high schooler neglected by his peers who has only loved 2D girls his entire life faces off against Iroha Igarashi, the promiscuous, rude but beautiful girl who's in the same school with him. Couple of generic encounters later, all inclusive of overused anime tropes, Iroha asks Hikari out. The reason behind this is not love, but curiosity. She finds Hikari interesting, even though he hasn't really done anything out of the usual. I guess she has been so used to seeing guys fighting over her that she was surprised to see someone fight to protect her. After some contemplation, Hikari agrees to date her. However, there's a ticking time bomb. So the premise is set. Anti-social otaku dating a girl way outside his league as he struggles to adjust to normie life for the next 6 months. Simple, light, easy to digest. Oh boy. Hikari is very skeptical of this whole relationship from the very start. He knows that Iroha is unpredictable, rash, and can simply dump him at a moment's notice. In fact, when he sees Iroha with another man, he doesn't really feel anything. He isn't angry, doesn't confront them, doesn't ask questions. Of course, he's hurt, but he expected this might happen. Hikari's inferiority complex is a recurring theme throughout the whole show.
お前が俺みたいなのと付き合ってる必要は全然ねえから。他にいい男なんていっぱいいるし、世のほとんどは俺よりいい男だし。卑屈なのはもう板についてんだ。こればっかりは今までの生き様上どうしようもなくて。
He is extremely suspicious of happiness.
信じない。俺がこんなに幸せだなんて信じない。いいことがあれば必ず悪いことが起こる。俺の人生はそういう風にできてるからな。
He feels that he doesn't deserve joy of any kind. This not only hurts him but also the people around, because this self-consciousness and the desire to not let his social life spiral out of control is sometimes misperceived as arrogance.
俺は最近いろんなことがあって構ってやれなかったかもしれん。ゲームの話ならあいつじゃなくて俺にしろ。いつでも聞くから。
筒井のバカ、無神経だよ。僕がここに来てるのは別に筒井とは関係ない。だいたい構ってやれなかったってなんだよ。最近筒井はなんか傲慢だよ。
Hikari feels like a genuine character. In fact, this is why I prefer shoujo anime. The characters are usually consistent, multi-layered, and well-rounded. They show growth and complexity as the plot moves forward, unlike their one-dimensional shonen counterparts. Another aspect of the shoujo genre I love is the time and attention given to the supporting cast. There's Ito and Ayado, introverted otakus who are also struggling to find their place in society. There's Ishino, who's desperate to land a good boyfriend who can accept her for who she is. Takanashi, the aloof playboy who isn't really interested in long-term relationships and dislikes lack of control. There's a reason why I can remember every single character's names and attributes because they're well written. A great way to test a character's well-writtenness is to imagine them in mundane situations and try to accurately predict their behavior. I can confidently predict how each of these characters might react while, say, stuck in traffic or working overtime to meet deadlines. And this is a testament to how fleshed out these personalities are. Characters which Mao Nanami has carefully sharpened in season 1, and they utilize this arsenal with astounding efficacy in season 2. If you have somehow made it through to the first episode of the second season, first of all, a standing ovation. Because the first season is below par and I am being generous. And I'm proud of you for sticking through. The second season is when our characters shine the brightest. We start off with one of the best cultural festival arcs I've seen. It's just 2 episodes long, which is the perfect length for such an arc, and it culminates in this satisfying resolution, taking character dynamics to another level. Next, we have the divorce arc. Okay, wait. Tangent time. Remember the time limit the author has restricted themselves to?
どうせ私半年後に転校するから。
This complicates things because you have very little duration to develop the core relationship between Iroha and Hikari. And because of this, the writer has to drop these bombs after bombs which come so far out of left field it'll give you tonal whiplash. These obstacles aren't foreshadowed at all. In season 1, Hikari is accused of kidnapping a little girl. Towards the end of season 1, we are introduced to this handsome dude who's supposed to be Iroha's brother. Oh, he lives abroad, that's why we haven't seen him. What? Introducing such a major character with possibly plot-bending consequences in the penultimate episode of a season. What are you smoking, Mao Nanami? Because I want some. And by the time the divorce arc came along, I noticed a pattern. Why are these obstacles so sudden in nature? Hikari's father was never introduced to us. The divorce arc is the first time we see him. In the middle of the second season. Is this bad writing? Yes, it is. But let's dig deeper. What is the function of these obstacles? What has changed at the end of these arcs? And the answer lies in chemistry. A catalyst is a substance that makes a chemical reaction happen faster. Replace chemical reaction with relationship development. This is the method behind all the madness. The resolution of these arcs usually results in permanently changing the relationship between the two leads. The nature of the obstacles don't matter, it's the swift outcome, the moral at the end of the arc which strengthens their relationship that's important.
俺は北海道行ったってこいつのこと諦めねえぞ。
嬉しいけどそれは
一緒だ。そばにいるのに手を離すなよ。
And speaking of relationships, Real Girl digs deep on that front. In a world in which mangakas rarely delve into post-confession territory, this anime knows that simply getting a girlfriend, indulging in a little bit of hand-holding or a romantic kiss is no guarantee of a lifetime of happiness.
特に彼女なんてできるまでがゴールなのかと思ってたし、その先のことなんて想像すらしてなかったけど。
Love is complicated. This show really hammers that point home.
恋愛って苦しいね。
恋愛が痛くて苦しくて恥ずかしいものだって知ってしまったからまたその領域に足を踏み入れるのが怖かった。
恋愛は難しい。いつもちゃんとした答えがない。
We focus on a total of 4 couples across 2 seasons, 5 if you include Hikari's parents, but I'll focus on just 2. Ito falls for Ayado, who unfortunately is in love with his best friend, Hikari. Hikari, being the good boy that he is, rejects her because he is going out with Iroha. Things get complicated for Ito now. How does he break the news about his own feelings to Ayado? But seeing how Iroha and Hikari have changed over the course of their relationship, coupled with the desire to change himself, he eventually does confess, but gets rejected, which is fair because she is still recovering from her feelings for Hikari.
私絶対もう一回見ようと思っているので、よかったら一緒に。私は一体何を言っているんでしょう。すいません、違うんです。
いや
Change. This is what drives Ito and Ayado. With the lack of a societal support system and its inability to accept them for who they are, somewhere along the lines, they began internalizing this bitterness, blaming themselves for being in the wrong, for being wired differently. They're not looking for just love, but also acceptance, not from society, but from themselves.
綾戸さん、僕ね、自分のことが嫌いだったんだ。でも今、ようやく好きになれる気がする。綾戸さんに好きになってもらえた自分を、ようやく好きになれるよ。ありがとう、綾戸さん。
私も同じです。
Coming to Hikari and Iroha, yes, change is a major factor, but it's not about self-acceptance. For Hikari, it's his crippling inferiority. For Iroha, it's her guardedness and a lack of desire to acclimate with her peers. Iroha does most of the heavy lifting in this relationship. It's like playing tennis. Hikari keeps shooting his insecurities at her. Forehand, backhand, volleys, drop shots. But Iroha keeps returning his shots each time. She keeps defending him.
お前にはもっといい男がいくらでもいる。
セツよりいい男なんていないもん。
She accepts him for who he is. She sees beyond his very visible flaws and lauds his hidden strengths.
他にいい男なんていっぱいいるし、世のほとんどは俺よりいい男だし。
つっつん、それ以上言ったら許さないよ。私の好きな人は誰よりも優しくて友達思いで不器用だけど愛おしい世界で一番いい男だよ。
And we see it pay off in, albeit small, but noticeable ways.
だとすれば俺にできることはもうちょっといい男になるように努力することか。あれ、俺今思考がポジティブ。
Iroha is my favorite character in the whole show.
趣味は犬の散歩で得意料理はゆで卵で。やっぱり無理ですこのキャラ。ごめんなさい。犬も飼ってません。
If you have ever been in a relationship, you'll realize how the title of the show gains more and more relevance as we get to know Iroha. In most anime, there's a dearth of realistic female characters. Tsundere, yandere, kudere. Characters are compartmentalized in neat little boxes with predictable traits and behavior. Oh, but wait, we gave her a tragic backstory. That should give her layers. No. Lazy, derivative, one-dimensional. Not Iroha, though. What she lacks perhaps in character design, she more than makes up for it in personality. She really comes off as a balanced individual most of the times. There are rarely any extremities in her behavior. She is bothered when Hikari talks with other girls but doesn't overreact. There's the volatility of a maiden's anger, but it's quickly evaporated. Although sometimes her feelings can be impossible to decipher for Hikari, that is.
なんでもないやつが泣かねえだろ。いいんだってば。おいって。つっつーのせいでこうなってるんだよ。バカ。
People who have been in relationships will find such situations highly relatable. But my point is that Iroha genuinely feels like a real girl. Also, a pro tip, keep the answer to this question ready at all times.
優しいところと芯が強いとこ 正直なところと、実は結構照れ屋で不器用なところ、正義感が強いところ、勉強苦手だけど補習はちゃんと受けてるとこ、コンビニの袋をいつも丁寧に畳むとこ、炭酸が苦手なとこ、犬に会うとちょっとビクってするとこ、骨格、お箸の持ち方が綺麗なとこ、あとこないだ
Anyway, my point is that Iroha doesn't need some sad backstory to flesh her out. Although there is a tragedy lurking round the corner.
忘れられない思い出か。
It has been foreshadowed multiple times in both seasons and it's very easy to figure out, but still I won't spoil it. The last 4 episodes comprise one of the most memorable final arcs of a romantic anime that I've watched, including a beach episode which will leave you depressed. A sequence capturing the innocence and purity of physical intimacy, something that mainstream cinema has perhaps forgotten how to do. The rusty dagger which you could anticipate from a mile away and yet pierces you, inflicting the highest form of intangible damage you could suffer. A scar for your soul. If you aren't tearing up in the final few episodes, I have just one question for you. How does your body pump blood with that heart of stone, man? Seriously, there has to be something wrong with you. This anime, which started out as terrible, rekindled my love for the medium, and like the characters in the show, it changed my life. A little bit, but a little nonetheless. It taught me the value of relationships, how difficult it is to maintain one, how important it is to cherish one. And I think that is the highest compliment you can bestow upon a work of art, that it changed you. Doesn't matter if the change is small, doesn't matter if it's temporary. This work left a dent in my heart. It shattered and remade me whole into a better person, and I'm going to remember this anime and its characters for a long, long time.
俺と付き合ってください。お前は魔法も使ってる。お前といるとすごいことばっか起こる。
ツッツンを見つけられた私はラッキーなんだよ。
人と一緒にいて楽しい気持ち、人に好かれて嬉しい気持ち、全部あいつがくれたんだ。
私今日のことずっと忘れたくない。